This is literally my first time on the TikTok app. We're gonna react to some TikToks. I asked my husband to find these for me. He really dislikes TikTok. So he was just sat there the whole time grumbling to himself, and he's like, oh, why can't people lip sync in time if you have to lip sync to a song? I could do a better job of this. Oh, it says, what is it about being autistic that everyone just hates you? The feels. Young Meg, I'm sorry that you had to go through this.
What is it about being autistic that everyone just hates you?
I'm listening to this audiobook right now. Unmasking Autism by Dr. Devon. Yes. I don't think I've got to this bit yet, so this is like spoilers. It's been really good so far. I'll leave a link to it in the description down below if you want to grab it.
Sasson and colleagues in 2017, for example, found that neurotypical people quickly and subconsciously identified that a stranger is autistic, often within milliseconds of meeting them.
Yes, I've heard this before. It's like an intuition thing, like you can get a vibe from someone really quickly. When somebody doesn't know that a person is autistic, it's kind of like something in their brain goes like, and then they're like, that is different, that is not what we're used to, stay away. And then they immediately kind of can be a bit standoffish with you, or like interpret things that you're doing differently to how you mean them. So there have been times where people have thought I have a problem with them or something, or I think I'm better than them and I'm really stuck up, and it's like, no, I just think maybe I don't always have complete control over what my face is doing.
They don't realize that they've identified the person as autistic though. They just think the person is weird.
Yeah. Weird was what I was called constantly throughout primary school. Weird. And then it upgraded to freak when I got to high school, which was nice. That was one particular person who liked that one. They were lovely. I don't know, maybe they had their own issues going on. We won't judge too harshly.
Participants in the study were less interested in engaging in conversation with autistic people and liked them less than non-autistics.
Was this study my life? Is my life a study? Is this The Truman Show?
All based on a brief moment of social data. It's also important to point out that the autistic people in this study didn't do anything wrong. Their behavior was perfectly socially appropriate, as was the content of their speech, though they tried their damnedest.
I remember going to this like high school taster session day, feeling like, okay, no, I'm gonna make a good impression, because I deliberately chose after primary school, didn't really get along with people too well, didn't have the best experience. So I thought I will go somewhere different where a lot of people from my primary school aren't going, a high school where there's lots of new people that was slightly further away from me. And I was like, I'm gonna make a good impression. It's a fresh start. I was actually quite excited to start again. And I just remember this girl just glaring at me, being sat at a table doing some sort of like group getting to know you kind of activity or whatever. I hadn't said a word to her. I made eye contact with her, smiled, and she glared at me like she hated me. I always got that vibe from people, like they hated me. And I was like, why? And I just had no idea. And then I've said it in a recent video that I eventually got to the point where it became an obsession with my appearance, because I was like, well, people are obviously making a very snap judgment about me. It must be to do with the fact that my hair's not perfectly straight, because at that time, I went to high school in 2007, your hair had to be perfectly straight. Obviously it was something to do with looking at me, I think, but it wasn't to do with my physical appearance, because I did think, she don't have perfectly straight hair, she just ties her hair up. People are still friends with her. How does that work? It used to be really confusing to me.
Their performance had some key tells and was just slightly off, and they were disliked because of it.
Yeah, it got better in college. Some of that was because I was masking even harder and I'd gained more social skills, so I was able to mask at like next level masking. Oh, it's Paisley, gal.
This one is for the autistic people, and everyone else is probably gonna be like, I don't care about this. But I have such a problem with change, and I know that we know that that's a thing, whatever. But when I have a plan and then last minute it's like, oh, canceled. You know, canceled. Now I have a time that is not allotted to anything in particular. And, you know, most people will be like, oh, great, you know, now I have time to do things. I can go to the grocery store. I can read a book. I can do whatever. Me? No, I sit here like this. I can't do anything. And my brain and my body are like,
I love her eyes. They're so intense. They're amazing.
Do something. Do something. Do something. And I'm like, can't. This is a time that nothing has been given to. And like in my head, I can list things. I'm like, you could do the dishes, you could read a book, you could write more of your book, you could go play with your dog. But I just sit here like this, tears going down my face silently. too much unlotted time, and it sucks, man. Like, oh.
Unexpected change of plans can be really upsetting, and there have been times where I have made the decision to do something different from what I originally planned as well, because I'd already decided to do this other thing before. It's like my brain latches onto that and then just won't let go, and then I'm actually physically unable to make the change to that plan in the end, and I have to go out and do the thing that I originally had wanted to do, even if it's really small and stupid. Otherwise I would just get upset and could start crying and like shaking about it. Oh, it's really hard. It can depend on the day sometimes, and like how stressed I am about other things, and probably like my cycle and all sorts of stuff. Like there was a thing that I kind of half wanted to go to, and I thought, maybe I'll go to that. And then the day came around and I was like, nah, it doesn't make sense. I have to get a train there. It'll be like a massive journey. There's quite a lot of walking involved as well. I really don't want to do it. I hate being on public transport. And then the day got there and my brain was like, but you thought you might go. And I literally had no choice but to just get on the train and go. And at the end of it, I was like, I kind of wish I hadn't gone. But like, I felt like if I hadn't gone, I would have just sat there all day feeling awful about the fact that I decided to go and I wasn't going.
I'm autistic. Oh, really? What kind of autistic are you?
Wait, her necklace is quite similar to mine. It's not the same, but it's similar. Sorry, ADHD diagnosis here.
The kind who is pitied and assumes that you can't do anything and would be better off dead? Or the kind that I should hold to unrealistic expectations and assume is lazy if they ever say they struggle with anything? Neither.
I love this. I love the facial expression and the way she's delivering this. Oh, it's really sad, but it's so true. It's just like putting into words what people actually mean when they say things like, you don't look autistic, or you're not like this person, my friend's nephew. It's always someone's nephew who is autistic.
I'm the human kind of autistic, who can do some things and struggles with others, and the things I struggle with can change on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I think it's tricky sometimes when, maybe you're just average or very good in particular areas of your life. Like, I did well academically, but I cannot light a gas stove without flinching because I find it terrifying and I just hate it on a sensory level, like the little tick 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 sound and then the flame, and I don't know, something about it creeps me out. So I prefer it if somebody else does that. It's very difficult for people to reconcile these different sides of you, the side of you that can do really amazing things and the side of you that, has weaknesses. I guess, yeah, just with autistic people, your strengths and weaknesses can be much more pronounced.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't think that type of autistic exists.
People who know nothing about autism being autism experts, well done, you're qualified. But then the problem is you get to the actual autism experts and they say things like, masking doesn't exist, everybody does that, and it's like, oh gosh, who can we trust? There are some good professionals out there, obviously. It's not everyone. But probably a lot of GPs at least, let's just say that. She's got great eyebrows and that was great.
I'm autistic. Yeah, I would have never guessed that you were autistic. You don't look it.
You don't look it.
Really? Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's 247 times 53 minus 7 plus 5.
Okay, so she's rating the responses. So assuming that you're good at maths. I'm not great. I was really, really obsessed in high school with getting perfect grades, and it became like a very control kind of thing. And it was just all consuming. My stepdad's really great at maths, and he would like walk in the door from work and I would be there like, can you help me go through a past paper? The poor man, he's the loveliest parent ever, and he helped me for hours and hours on end, and sometimes like I'd forget something from one day to the next. I wouldn't hold it in my brain very well, and he would explain it again, and he was amazing, and he's the only reason why I did that well. Although I probably, because I was so determined to do perfectly, I probably would have just irritated teachers and asked for extra sessions or something. No, it's certainly not a special genius skill that I have.
Well, everyone's a little bit on the spectrum.
Everyone's a little bit on the spectrum. You hear it all the time, or just like everybody's got something, or everyone's being diagnosed with something these days. And I mean, to be honest, that everyone's got something, maybe you're kind of thinking, I think that was something that was mentioned in the book, you're kind of maybe thinking along the right line. mind's there. Everybody's brain is different. So why do we expect everyone in society to perform in exactly the same way and to fit into these boxes and to be able to go to school between this time and follow this routine and then go and get this sort of a job? If we're all so different, why do we hold everybody to the same expectations, and why do we not allow for a bit more flexibility and create a world where people can focus on their strengths and we can try and bring out the best of each individual in our population and, you know, not be so harsh on them for their weaknesses and not make them feel like a worthless piece of poo. That in itself, the whole like, we have strengths that make us valuable is all a bit like, but you know, baby steps.
Oh my goodness, you are such an inspiration.
Yeah, sometimes you see comments on videos about autism that are not made for just an autistic audience, that are just going out to the general public like, oh, these people are so sweet, they're so cute. And you're like, I'm sure people have the best intentions, but it does come across a little bit condescending. You do know that autistic people can have like any level of intelligence. It doesn't imply a lower IQ. No, I would hate to be patronized or made to feel small for being autistic. No, don't do that.
Really? But you're making eye contact with me.
If someone said you're making eye contact with me, oh my gosh, it would make me feel so like awkward and aware of it. I feel like I just want to start staring at them like this as revenge make them really uncomfortable. You don't have to not be able to make eye contact at all ever in order to be diagnosed with autism. It is not a thing.
Oh, but you're one of those high functioning ones, right?
One of those high functioning ones. Oh no. Yes, the whole functioning thing. No, support needs is a better thing to say. Or sometimes people say high masking. If you can't tell they're autistic, they may well be high masking, not high functioning, because you can be masking and not functioning very well, as I know.
Oh my goodness, I am so sorry. Does that get worse over time?
Oh yeah, when I got my diagnosis, I messaged a family member who I really, really love, and they were kind of joking, but they were like, don't know whether to say well done or sorry, with like laughing faces. I was like, no, it's great, it's a really good thing. If you use the word diagnosed, I think people don't really know what to say, and their brain like kind of short circuits, and they're like, being diagnosed is usually bad. Like, I've just been diagnosed with a terminal illness. So they're like, oh, sorry. They just immediately switch to the script that they associate with the word diagnosed and don't really think about it and just don't realize that it's not like an illness and it's not a bad thing and it's just self-discovery. And for a lot of people it can be complicated and a difficult thing to process, but it can be a really, really wonderful thing and really change your life in positive ways. I mean, you can always just respond to that with like, oh no, I'm actually really happy about it. It's helped me reframe so many experiences in my life and it'll mean I get like accommodations going forwards.
What? No way. You are nothing like my 5-year-old cousin who has autism. Like,
I said people always say nephew, and they're always like between the ages of 3 and 5, I swear. Because everyone always knows one person, and because people who fit the stereotype, who maybe got like, stereotypical interests like trains and space and all that thing, are probably more likely to be diagnosed. They're more likely to be associated in that person's mind with autism, and then it just perpetuates this cycle of only a certain type of autistic person being diagnosed. And it's great that those people are being diagnosed. I don't want them to not be diagnosed and not get the support that they need, but kind of need as many of us as possible to get the support that we need, you know?
you guys are nothing alike. I know you're like a 30-year-old woman, but like, still, there's a... What? No, you can't just say those kinds of things. Like, you know that there's actual autistic people out there. That is so offensive. Come on.
I've had this in comments actually where people try and act like you're maybe taking things away from people who are really autistic. And I don't know. It's so hard with responding to people because you want me to sit here and lay out to you all the ways in which I have struggled, all the most painful parts of my existence. Like, no, I don't owe you that. I don't owe you that at all. Maybe just smile and be like, well, I am autistic. Sometimes people have good intentions and they just say the wrong thing because they don't know what to say or they're just not knowledgeable about it. And if you want to, you can engage in a conversation, but don't feel like you have to break down all your boundaries and share things that you don't really want to share. I know often we can feel compelled to share maybe too much. You don't have to prove or justify it to anybody. You are autistic. Yes, but I know it is tricky when people don't believe you. It's horrible. It's invalidating.
Okay, well, let me know if I need to support or help you in any way.
Oh, yes. It's so nice, isn't it? Like, I think I'd start crying if someone said that to me. I'm at the Open University and I needed to defer some of my studying, and they were just so nice. The student support was amazing. I actually took an interest. They had like this really long conversation with me. The person was so warm. I was like, whoa, I am not used to this at all, but they're used to accommodating disability because they're an open, university and distance learning, and they don't have grade requirements in order to get onto most of the courses. You don't have to complete A-levels, which is really amazing. So I think they're used to probably dealing with a lot of autistic people. It just made me want to cry. It's just unexpected. We need some more kindness.
I have got devastating news. The worst thing that can happen to a neurodivergent person has happened to me. Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? My safe food? No longer my safe food. Udon noodles have been my favourite food for about a year now. Not anymore. I can't have it anymore.
Okay, this is Chloe Hayden. Oh, I think she's great. I really enjoy watching her on YouTube. I've not finished watching Heartbreak High. I started watching it and I was enjoying it, and then I just haven't watched it. I need to make my husband watch it with me because usually we watch things together. I don't really set aside time to watch much on my own. I'm loving this luminous yellow outfit. It's great. Her style is just great in general. It's so funny that it's udon noodles specifically because I always used to eat buttered pasta as a child. I used to absolutely love it. I don't know how I survived up until this point because it was basically what I lived on. And then my mom started doing like buttered udon noodles for a while, at this phase of the buttered udon noodles, and they were just so amazing. They were great. But yeah, it's phases. They come in waves. Like, something can be great for a while and then just one day it just gives you the ick. Like, maybe something can happen, like you can eat it and something's a bit wrong with it and it's not the way it normally is. Like, maybe you cooked it a bit differently, or something can be off, and maybe it can be nothing at all. I don't know. Sometimes it just happens out of nowhere and then it like gives you the ick, and then you're like, I'm never gonna eat this again. And sometimes it can come back. I feel like sometimes they can, have a second wave, but sometimes it's just like, no.
I can't have it anymore. I ate it about a month ago and I went, and I was like, that's weird. That's really weird. That's so strange. Maybe it was just a bad batch. Maybe my body just wasn't on today. That's okay. I tried it 3 more times, and every single time I wanted to projectile vomit in my mouth.
I think it's sometimes because when we like something, we can really eat it to death, and then I feel like you're more likely to have a bad experience with it at some point. At some point, that food is gonna wrong you in some way.
You know what's even worse? Sushi. Sushi's been my favorite food for, 25 years. I always love it. It always feels safe. I can always eat it. Not anymore. I cannot have sushi anymore.
You can't have sushi anymore, no! This is devastating. Udon noodles and sushi. I feel like when I'm tired, I get more picky about food. Like, if I'm really sleep deprived, my appetite just disappears. Can basically only eat children's food.
Do you want to know what I can have? Do you know what food I can eat? Plain, white, bland, boring food. My autism is peaked. The autism is peaked. I'm gonna start quoting Thomas the Tank Engine.
I love that. Thank you.
I went out for bubble tea yesterday because it is my favorite food ever. I went out for bubble tea and I took a little sip and I felt ill.
Oh no, but like, seriously, this is really sad. Oh no, they can't happen to all of your favorite foods. No. If anyone has any tips in the comments for when this happens, when your safe foods become unsafe.
If the tism takes bubble tea from me, we're gonna have words. I feel like I am possessed.
I love your energy, it's great. Autism. I love the tism, it's so cute. I just started saying it myself, and then I saw other people saying it online. I was like, oh yeah, it's not just me.
Anyway, I've got a book signing to go to now. Fit check. I feel like Charlie from High Five.
Oh, she looks great. Start quoting Thomas the Tank Engine, that killed me. That was the best TikTok I've ever seen. My brain has decided to go on strike. Help me. The caption says. Does feel like that sometimes. You're like, no man, why? Why is this happening to me? Ah, dearie me. You can feel like you're really at war with yourself sometimes. I'll leave a link to the last video that I did on screen. Thank you so much for watching. And if you have any video requests, let me know in the comments below. Not that I have a document of like over 100 ideas already, but it's fine. I can have some more. Bye.